Hey, everybody. The awkward silence before I start. I know a couple people in here, but who works like in IT or does? Yeah, probably most everybody. All right, cloud backgrounds, AI, all the hands. Okay. Anybody a hiring manager? Anybody in the room or has been? Okay. Yeah, maybe chime in on thoughts, etc. It's fine. This is like a little less technical talk. I'm just going to get going because to be early is to be on time, right? At least that's what my high school band director told me. All right, so yeah, I'm Nathan Hiscock, and I'm privileged to help serve this community in the AWS cloud. Love AWS. I don't work for AWS. I work for a SI partner. But I'm here to talk about networking, not just as a networking topic, but as a career. And, finding jobs, being employed, staying connected to people. So that's kind of what this is about. I personally have a passion for helping students or, folks earlier in their career help find a good place to live. Not only, where they want to live, but where they want to live and focus their efforts in their career. So this is a little bit more of it's a non-technical talk for techies, on things that we don't learn in school. It's, when we go to school, and I have a computer science degree, and I imagine probably a lot of folks at least have technical training, and the emphasis always seems to be learn tech skills, learn tech skills, learn tech skills. And yes, of course, we're always doing that. But I always say, well, maybe there's some other skills that we need to round ourselves out, especially as we progress in our careers, or as we're looking for that first job. And what is it that employees or employers look for? I'm going to carry this around because I don't like to sit still. All right, so, and what side of here we go. So that's kind of the synopsis of my talk. So I live here in Indianapolis, Franklin Township, for those familiar with the geography. Lived here for 49 years, all of my life. It's my beautiful wife and my family. I've been married 25 years, father of 3. Those are probably my favorite, biggest accomplishments. Lifelong Indy residents. I've started 3 or 4 little companies or business initiatives here, helped others do the same. I currently serve as the vice president of solution architecture here at Uturn, which is based out of Chicago, and a lot of business here in the Midwest and Central region for AWS. Anybody went to Ball State? Any chirps? All right, there we go. All right, chirp. So I teach AWS Cloud maybe every year or two. Their CICS program, I think it's 642. So sign up, you'll get me. It's like cloud practitioner plus what I consider to be, important things that are evolving in the cloud. So I'm an amateur radio operator. I know Matt's got a call sign. Oh, another one? All right. Okay, we got 2. I did a ham radio fun project a few years ago. So it's technology, but I love tech. I play trumpet on boards for a nonprofit or 2. And then I follow my kids around doing tennis, golf, show choir, band, all sorts of things. So that's a little bit about me. Only part of my identity is what I do to get a W-2 form or 1090 from the government every year. So everybody's heard the No Man is an Island poem before. That's kind of how I think of networking. And networking, I think Corey mentioned it in the keynote, networking can seem very transactional, but it's really relationship building. And again, like I said at the beginning, often what we do as technologists, we think, our job is skill set building, technology skills. And yes, of course, we got to be able to do our job. But I would say, especially as you progress in your career, networking in terms of being connected to others who maybe have skills you don't, or know things you don't, or can teach you things you don't know yet, takes you much further in your ability to impact an organization, ability to affect change as a leader. And so, or in your community. So, I have a passion that cloud can just not only transform your life personally as a great career, but the businesses that you work for, like AWS Transform, they name it that. Like, how can I, we call things, digital innovation and all these different concepts. how do we help customers, how do we help clients change not only their technology, but their lifestyle, their business, the way they interact, especially with the advent of AI, agentic platforms everywhere. So what I always like to say is, our groups of people, they hire people. And those people have skill sets, but they may only be relevant for a sliver of time before you've got to update that and modify that. So the skill set itself isn't what, in my opinion, people always hire. Maybe for the day and for the project du jour, of course, you've got to hire for the right skill set. But you also have to hire the right person who's connected, who has that desire to innovate, change, and stay fluent in what's happening in the tech world. And I think you pick up a lot of that from networking and relationships with others. What's impactful to them? What do they need? What do they want? So, and I love Brene Brown. Any Brene Brown fans? A few. Okay, so connection is why we're here. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. There's nothing I love to see more than someone's life changed by interaction with technology or opportunity. One of my favorite stories, and I apologize for those who've heard it before, but in the AWS we met, there was a young lady who came. She was going to school at Purdue. She wants to get into cloud, but she was working full-time at Roche, and she also was a Venezuelan immigrant. And so she's working hard, and I always open up, who wants to speak? And she raised her hand. I want to speak. I'm like, fantastic. So, a couple months later, it was her turn to speak, and she gave a speech, did a fantastic job. Okay. What I didn't know was that I knew English was her second language. I didn't know it was the first time she'd ever spoken in public in English as a second language. She did phenomenal. She did so well, she got an AWS internship out of that small opportunity. And she did so well in that internship that she got a full-time job with AWS. So I love on that story sometimes more than the awesome work that we do for customers, because there's a life that's transformed, and the cloud can do that. It's amazing. And I don't know who's texting me, but my phone is blowing up. So I love, anybody heard of the Ikigai, kind of Japanese concept? So I love this concept. If you can answer these 4 questions with the same thing, this is where you want to be. For me, this is cloud and working with people to innovate in the cloud. What do you love? I love the cloud. I love how it constantly changes. I love how everything's new all the time, and I'm constantly learning. If you don't like to learn, this is a horrible industry to be in. So what are you good at? I don't know if I'm good at it. Maybe talk to Mike, Matt, or somebody, but I love this. I've been in it for a while, so I can't be that horrible at it. What do others need? There's a huge consumption, demand for this AI services, innovation, et cetera. And what pays? It pays pretty well, right? Most of us are probably doing okay. That's great. I love this diagram. So my advice to anybody who's like going into a career or looking for a role, figure out what that center is for you, because you won't ever work a day in your life. You will have fun every day. You'll have purpose. You will be comfortable, and you'll feel valuable to those around you, and you will be valuable to those around you. Couple job skill trends, and I'm kind of ripping through this. Because, what I've noticed, and I think we notice, is the skills and the half-life of skills are accelerating and changing, shortening. It used to be you could go learn how to be a programmer and go program C#, program Java, or COBOL, for those who remember that. Do that job for a very long time, be good at it, clock in, do your job, clock out. Fantastic. AI is changing that dramatically. One, it's doing some of that for us and accelerating our ability in the productivity we have. But 2, it's just changing. The rate of change is so dramatic in our industry. So learning how to learn and loving to learn how to learn, I think, is probably, in my opinion, what makes one of the best characteristics of a really good consultant or technologist. So, a couple key findings. In general, if I sum up everything here, is we're spending more time learning, and the time that we're using those skills is shortening. So I know it definitely seems that way in the last 2, 3, 4 years. I'm constantly spending time learning on, okay, I got to go get my Claude certification. I got to go renew my AWS cert. I got to go look at this, this certification over here. I got to go learn about anthropology, all this. So constantly learning. So I'm spending more time learning, and I'm spending, excuse me, probably less time typing code out from scratch because I'm having these robots that can type faster than me type it out for me, or I'm doing things like that. So this is some research. If you guys download the PowerPoint from the slides, you can get those links to those reports. McKinsey, Deloitte, pretty good references there. But skill obsolescence. I feel like I kind of learned something for the first time now. And then the next time I need to use it, it's changed dramatically. And so I'm going to relearn. And so if I don't know how to learn quickly, and I have the desire, again, the Ikigai concept where I love what we're doing, so I have a passion to go learn about it. One, I have an aptitude towards that subject matter. And then, it's valuable. People are asking me to do it and change. Then I'm probably not going to be successful if I'm not picking those the right area for me to work in. So our job skill sets, if you imagine 2030, which is what, 3.5 years away, the expectation is that 42, 70%, et cetera, of our job skills, what we're doing every day, is likely to be very different than today. I don't know what it looks like, but that's the projection. Are we going to be vibe coding or vibe engineering? I don't know. I find myself doing a lot of that. So let me bring this back. So what is networking? Again, networking, I kind of chose that word to just, play off of the technical concept of a computer network. But really, we're building relationships with people. It's not transactional. I think people sniff that out pretty quickly. We know the self-serving salesperson who just wants your money and they don't actually care about you. They don't care about what you're doing or your goals. They're just trying to get a transaction to happen. That's not networking. That's kind of a one-sided relationship. Relational. We're humans. We care about each other. We're connected. We're social beings. Having that genuine empathy and connection to others who share your interests. That's what we do here at the user group community. We share an interest in AWS and cloud technology. We care. The folks who put this on, Margaret and Dave, we're not getting paid. We do this because we genuinely believe that this is valuable to the community. And then here's one of my favorite topics. I always hear I'm pretty extroverted, if you don't know me. But I'm an introvert. I hate networking. Well, there's plenty of ways, especially with new technologies, that even those who may not want to be, fluid in real time, there's still plenty of ways that we can network, even as introverts and extroverts. So if you think of an introvert, writing. So Corey mentioned some of that in the keynote, being able to write thoughtful blog posts, interacting with folks who are commenting on that on social media, LinkedIn articles, et cetera. Those are all great ways. Coffee chats, a little bit different way. Not as intimidating as walking into a room full of strangers and making 10 new friends. Informal interviews. I was talking to a college student that was here earlier, and I'm like, every conversation you have today is a soft interview. Every time you talk to somebody, just because you're not sitting down in professional work attire, across from each other in an office, that's an interview. You're building a personal connection to them. They're getting to understand you and what you're all about. Those are great ways if people are intimidated by sitting in a formal setting or in front of a panel, think of every interaction as an interview. It's a relationship building opportunity. Recording podcasts, writing case studies. These are all great ways to engage our community, share information, learn from others, connect with others. I think social media, Slack. If you're in the Indianapolis area, join the Indie Hackers Slack channel. It's amazing. And of course, we know extroverts, the stereotypes, conferences. I love to be around lots of people. I like to make new friends. Not everybody does. Hackathons are a little bit more social. You get 10 people in a room and you lock them in a room till you solve a problem, right? Live LinkedIn and social engagement, right? You can live stream and share, your open thoughts. Some people are more comfortable with that. It's still a good skill to have. Hallway conversations, so much gets done back channels, and especially corporations, if your business in your company is largely on-prem, well, to use a cloud analogy, or you have an RTO mandate, hallway conversations, you can get quite a bit done. Practicing those, managing those, it's a skill that gets developed over time. Panel discussions, cold outreach. Cold outreach is the hardest, right? I don't know too many people that always love that. If you've ever been in a sales role and had to cold call a bunch of people and suffer rejection all day, no one loves that. So, So to close this out, here's some great books I would recommend. One is Ultra Learning. Learn how to learn fast. I love books. This is a great one, and I think, in my opinion, probably one of the top skills is, can you learn quickly? Do you love this domain? Can you learn early? Not everybody can, right? So that's a great way. That's a great book. Dare to Lead, Brene Brown, just on empathy and connection with people. She's fantastic for that topic area. And then this is a great one for the technical community. Stop setting goals if you'd rather solve problems. Most of us at this conference are probably engineering system thinkers. We think problem solving, right? The irony is that a lot of times the people leading the businesses we work for are not problem solvers, they're goal setters and they're dreamers. And so they'll often come to an engineer who's a problem solver and go, hey, what's your goals for next year? What's your dream? That's the wrong question to ask that person. It's, what's the biggest problem you see that you want to solve next year? And it's a great way to show empathy to those that you work with. Also understanding maybe your boss is more of a goal setter than a problem solver. How do you communicate with them? How do you ask them? How do you motivate them? So I think that's a great one, especially for our industry, because I always find in engineering, consultancies, technical organizations, 80% of the people are engineering problem solvers, and the 20% are goal setters, and they're always asking the wrong questions. So, good book. There you go. That's my talk. I don't think I have any other slides. No, I don't. I don't have any other slides. Oh, I'm like way ahead of schedule. I blasted through that. Sorry. I get excited. So, all right. Thank you all. Thanks for coming today. So, oh.